It is wonderful, wonderful to be here. It's actually incredible to me. This whole thing that brings you this, being here in this building, this was all a Slack message that I put out, what, 6 weeks ago? Is that where this came from? We just said, hey, if we can't do what's a normal graduation, is anybody interested in getting together and doing a proper one? Fast forward 6 weeks and there are 400 people here, all for that idea. So thank you. Thank you with that. And I want to start that way. To classmates, to families, to faculty, to the staff of the Marriott. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I know that, that this can be maybe a difficult experience. Take some time out of your weekend to come and support something like this, but we appreciate it. This is a big moment for all of us here who are graduating. The support of all of you means a lot to us. And then to my graduates right here in front, thank you very, very much for being part of my family for this past 2 years. And I really mean that sincerely. As we start today, let's hope this clicking here works for any more technical difficulties. I want to start with you guys a question. And that question I have for you, nope, we are not in the right spot on this one. Should have my name on it somewhere.
There you go.
Hey, that looks like me. All right. Okay, so as we get started here, I want to ask you a question. And this is not a question that you haven't heard before, but for everybody, especially those sitting in the middle, this might mean something to you. And that question is, what the heck? I mean it. What the heck? And look at my faculty corner. I don't see Dr. Stice, but if he were here, I'd ask him that question. Oh, lost my slides again. What the heck, Dr. Stice? You promised us our very first semester in that accounting class that you've seen the show before. You know how this story ends. Don't worry about it. It's all good. We know how it goes. Yeah, really? Well, let's see. Our ELA was canceled. Our FBE was canceled. Our graduation was canceled. We went Zoom for an entire semester. Following that, we wore masks all the time. Half of our class just disappeared and stopped coming. You've seen this before? I got none of those warnings. So to you, Dr. Stice, I repeat, what the heck? Here we are in the Marriott Hotel instead of the Marriott School for graduation. Who would have thought? All right. I want you all to take a second to think back at your earliest EMBA memories. Are you thinking about that first day of orientation? We were in that great big room and they kept making us separate in different groups all the time. And at one point, I ended up against a wall all by myself as the only person who'd never seen a Marvel movie. Maybe you're remembering that day at Camp Williams when we didn't know each other, but we were trying to do all those tasks and it turned out one of them was impossible. I don't know for any of you what kind of COVID fears you've all had for the past year, but I can feel pretty confident that there's nothing in the air as bad as what was in the water at Camp Williams. But for me and my MBA program, my memories start nearly 4 years ago. I don't know how many of you know this, but I was actually rejected from this program twice. In 2017, I reached out to the MBA office to ask how I could make myself a competitive applicant. I was told that I'd need a good GMAT score in addition to justifying my work experience because of my age. So I studied for a month, took the GMAT. By the way, I had no idea at the time that none of you would be taking the GMAT. I apologize to the left and right side of the room, so I don't understand any of these jokes, but my audience is right here. So on April 22nd, 2017, I submitted a respectably high score to the Marriott School. 6 months later, I received my first rejection email, citing a significant lack of work experience. The letter read, "Dear Adam, thank you for your recent application for admission to graduate study at Brigham Young University. We regret to inform you that the MBA admissions committee did not recommend you for admission to the MBA program for fall 2017. While considering many factors, the admissions committee was particularly concerned that you lack significant work experience. They would like you to reapply after gaining significant work experience." I thought, okay, no problem. It's probably a long shot. I only had 5 years full-time work experience at the time. I'd simply try again the following year. So in January of 2018, I submitted my second application with a compelling letter of intent explaining why the MBA program needed a digital advertiser in its cohort. Thought they wanted a diverse set of industries, and then thought, if you want a digital advertiser and the most experienced one possible, that's pretty much me, because I've been here since like the field started. And so I thought I could talk them into it. In May 2018, I received the following letter. Put this one on the screen in case any of you don't know what the rejection letter looks like. It's right here. Dear Adam, thank you for your recent application for admission to graduate study at Brigham Young University. We regret to inform you that the MBA admissions committee did not recommend you for admission to the MBA program for fall 2018. It's not the same letter. They changed the 7 to an 8 in this letter. Disappointed again. I prepared my third application, but this time I learned how BYU communicates. So I included in my letter of intent in a style I figured BYU would connect with. Dear MBA admissions committee, thank you for taking the time to review my recent application for admission to study at Brigham Young University. I regret to inform you that I will continue to apply until I receive admission to this program. While considering many factors, I was particularly impressed with BYU's reputation, mission statement, and price point. If you admit me this year, you can save yourself some time next year. Attached are 2 additional letters of intent explaining why I would be a good fit. Sincerely, Adam Durfee. On Wednesday, December 19th, 2018, almost a full year after my third application went in, I received the following email, not a letter this time. The whole communication structure changed. That says this: Dear Adam, I'm writing to let you know that the BYU EMBA admissions committee has recommended you for admission to the EMBA program for fall of 2019. So now I'm not gonna lie, that was the part I thought you were gonna clap at, not the previous ones. All right. So you might ask the question now, why would I spend half my speech telling you this story? And honestly, I guess I just want you to understand more about me. But more than that, I wanted you to understand how special I think this program is and how special I think you are. I experienced firsthand how hard this program actually is to get into. You all cleared that bar, and 2 years of working with you has proved to me that you're something special. I'm so grateful I get to share this experience with you. If I had been accepted the first or even the second time I applied, I would have missed out on working with those of you sitting right here in front of me. And to me, that would be an enormous loss. The other reason I tell you this is because it's now part of my brand. As most of you know, I'm an advertiser. I love brands. I love creating them, building them, working with them. Brands are the focus of my job every single day. But a question I run into all the time, and academics struggle with this as well, is what makes a brand great? Well, there's no specific, simple answer. I took the beginning marketing class, the advanced marketing class. Okay, there are no specific answers. We start to wonder, what is this? And here's a list that we put together from some of our textbooks. What makes brands great is clear focus, definitive target audiences, defined missions. They know their competition, their USPs. They have consistent voice, defined product, predictable behaviors. We understand some things about brands that give them life. But at the end of the day, brand is more than a product. It's more than a service. It's more than an organization. A brand is this thing. When you put a stamp, an icon, a name on something, it instantly changes its value. It brings with it a story, a connotation, a feeling. It creates more than just the thread or the plastic or the metal or whatever else is attached to it. This is what makes a brand. And in my career, I've been extraordinarily lucky. I've worked with some of the greatest brands on earth. As part of the onboarding process, when you do work for these big brands though, you go through a brand training process. And this is really kind of interesting. When you get hired to work on one of these brands, you sit down with a brand manager or you work with a brand style guide or a brand messaging guide, and they ask you if you understand what's going to be said. And everything you want to do has to go through an approval process. It has to go through people who say you can and can't say this, has to look a certain way, feel a certain way. Brands protect their identity. What's kind of interesting though is most intensely of any brand on that list that I've worked with is Disney. Disney has a saying when you start to work for their brand. If you get to work on their brand team, you get to work on an account with them, get to work on a project with them. There's a phrase that goes around. It's a little colloquial in nature. It's an official Disney thing. But all the brand teams, they have a phrase that is, don't mess with the mouse. And in this way, it's because the mouse knows who he is. The mouse knows what he stands for. You don't mess with him. Disney has a strong identity. They know who they are. They know what they produce. They know who their audience is. And they want to defend that. To me, that's maybe a little bit inspiring to think that the brand cares this much that people are afraid to change anything about it. So think about this for a minute. You're a brand, Every time someone hears your name, they think of something. Whether it's Greg being very well read, whether it's Katie doing work in Africa, Scott looking after the people on Zoom, you mean something. Your brand has a story, your brand has a voice. You have a set of assumptions that are built into everything we talk about your brand. So my question for you is, what will you do to protect that brand? When we leave this room today and put the EMBA program in our rearview mirrors as we move back into the brands that we work with every day, what will we do about our own personal brand? Will we allow our brands to change every day? Or will we let people, organizations, companies, employers know that they can't mess with us because we know who we are, what we stand for, and what we represent? I'm proud to have all of you as part of my brand story. I'm proud to have been rejected twice so I could be part of this class at this time with you now. I'm proud to stand here and say that when our FBE, ELA, and graduation were all canceled, we found a way to get them all back. This group has grit. I'm so proud to be a member of this class of professionals and even more proud to call all of you my friends. My hope today is that from this moment, we leave here until our lives are over, that when people see the name BYU MBA Class of 2021 as a brand on our resumes, people will know what we're capable of. And most of all, people will know that you don't mess with the mouse or the Class of 2021.